Middlesbrough are the team in form in the Championship, and here's how they've been tearing up the league with goals like this.
Good ball into the box here, and it could be an opportunity for the opening goal.
That was an absolute banger, and obviously there's going to be plenty more of that, and we're going to be speaking to Chris from the Bropolis podcast. But first, we're going to get into how these goals are being scored.
I want to dig into the style of play and the change of style of play. Of course, beginning of the season under Rob Edwards, and now it's Hellball under Kim Hellberg.
All right, well, let's get into it.
A lot of numbers to take in here. What we all know is that Middlesbrough are good under Rob Edwards. They're a good side. They play good football. It was a little bit more ponderous, slower in the final third, slower in the build-up. And under Kim Hellberg, there's a reason why they're calling it Hellball. You can see that in the passes in the final third. Under Rob Edwards, you look at the game against Millwall, for example, passes in the final third, 53%. And you compare that to a game under Hellberg at Southampton, 83% of their passes were in the final third. And that's the reason Borough fans are absolutely loving it. It's fast, it's frenetic, it's pacey, and it's yielding goals as well.
And as well as yielding goals, there's also a kind of control in the middle of the pitch. Everything seems to be funneling through that centre of the pitch, almost reminiscent of when Michael Carrick was in charge, right?
Yeah, but they're also laying traps. That's the big part of their game plan in terms of sucking the opposition in, then switching the ball. And we can actually have a look at it here. And if you just pause it right now, look at how many Preston players are attracted to the ball on the left-hand side. And that's what I mean by laying traps. This is what Kim Hellberg wants his team to do. He wants his team to suck the opposition in. They get drawn to the side of the field. You can see the switches available. The defender calls for the ball, the switches on, and now that's when this all goes. All the players know exactly what to do, and a big part of what their team does is crashing the box. You see it here. We now see at the end of this play, you see 4 Borough players in the box, and it epitomises what he wants to do with this Middlesbrough team. He wants players to move the ball fast, to lay traps, to exploit the space in behind, but most of it does come down the centre of the pitch.
And listen, it wasn't a goal, but a very clear style and identity that seems to be catching teams off guard.
Well, that's the word, identity. They've got an identity, and under Rob Edwards, he was a very good manager. He's a manager that implemented his philosophy, but this is a clear identity. Everybody comes up against Middlesbrough know what they're going to get, and a lot of times they can't stop them, and that's why they're scoring loads of goals.
Now, there's a range of ways for them to get to goal, but one thing's for sure, all of them are going to be through the centre. The first one you showed, laying a trap, sucking people in, catching them off guard. This clip here against West Brom very much shows how comfortable they are playing in the middle, despite there being traffic in the middle of the park.
And whenever I watch Borough, the 2 words that come to mind, perpetual motion. Players always moving, players looking for the ball, players being brave as well. The most impressive thing is it's in the middle of the pitch where it's most congested, but you can see how comfortable they are. And this clip here, it doesn't lead to a goal, but it just shows you exactly what Kim Hellberg wants his team to do. They get the ball into the box. It's a good save by the goalkeeper, and unfortunately they don't score from that. But you know, if you keep on trying the same thing again and again and again, eventually it will result in a goal, and that's what's happened in this one. Look at the ball being played. Look at it right here, pause it. Look how many players are central for Middlesbrough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the final third, central positions. And again, this makes it difficult for West Brom to kind of pick up. You can't draw everybody in because then you can get exposed out wide. You see, they're not afraid to play the ball. The players constantly moving, and this is a lovely interplay here.
And what's interesting about it is in those positions, how many teams in the Premier League, in the EFL, wherever, would play that ball out wide to whip a ball in. But these guys seem certain that no matter what we're doing, as long as the build-up is here, it's got to be narrow, it's got to be straightforward.
It's a mindset thing, though, because all of these players have the ability to do it. It's about whether you can trust your manager and whether the manager can pass off his information for you to carry out on the pitch. And what we've seen from Borough, of the amount of goals that they're scoring, is the players are definitely onboarding that information, and it's yielding some of the best results in the division.
Now, obviously, you mentioned at the top of the show that no matter who the manager was, Middlesbrough were picking up points and doing well. But the one clear difference in Kim Hellberg's side is the average positions that his players are taking up.
Playing further forward is one thing, and it's something that they know how to do very well, having done that under Michael Carrick. But it's the compactness that really impresses me about Middlesbrough, the ability to play in tight spaces. And you see that from teams at the highest level, but to see it from a team in the Championship, it's so impressive. And it's testament to what Hellberg has kind of implemented in this team in a very short time. The fact that these players can onboard this information and play in those tight areas and hurt teams in the narrow spaces is what really impresses me about the Middlesbrough team.
Everyone's obviously benefiting from this system. They're scoring goals for fun, they're free-flowing, but one player in particular, Morgan Whittaker, he seems to be benefiting above everyone else.
The biggest beneficiary, yes. And if you look at that out here, he lines up as a wide forward, but he's not a winger. You won't see him hugging the touchline out there. He does his damage centrally, in and around there, is an inside forward within the widths of the penalty area, or as a number 10. Big beneficiary of that, Conway. He's not scored that many goals this season, Tommy Conway, but what Borough fans say is the tireless running. That's what really brings his teammates into play, whether it's running the far post, running the near post. He tirelessly runs. He's the workhorse up top, and it allows Morgan Whittaker to do the pretty things in and around the box, the nice touches, the interplay, and of course the finishing touches as well. Goals, assists. He's been the best player this season, and he's gone to another level under Kim Hellberg.
And obviously it's a vindication for Hellball as well. It's one thing for your central player to be the top goal scorer. It's another thing for him to also be the top assist maker.
You can see the numbers there. 11 goals, 5 assists, 16 GA, and that's for the kids, the GA. I'm normally traditional. I like to separate them, but 16 GA in 28 games, not bad at all. And we're seeing the best of Morgan Whittaker.
Well, let's talk about his playmaking. A brilliant example of just how much he influences games was against West Brom, wasn't it?
It was. And like I said, central positions is where he picks up. He lines up on the right-hand side, but you see him there, number 11, in the central position, showing for it in the danger area. The ball eventually falls to him. His teammates always looking for him. He makes the run there, sorts out his feet, and then he sees the ball. He always sees the pass, and he carries on making the run. Silvera gets the ball, finishes it in the bottom corner, and that's an example of him just playing in central areas, creating for his teammates, and his teammates finishing it off. This is why he's one of the best players in the division.
Well, absolutely spot on. Well, let's get the fans' perspective on all of this. Chris from the Boropolis podcast, welcome to the show, mate. Life's pretty sweet under Hellball, no?
It really is. It's a joy to watch. And we're just kind of riding plenty of momentum at the moment. We had a tricky spell over the festive period, but we're kind of doing things in fours at the moment. He come in, won 4 games, then we didn't win for 4, and now we've just won 4 games on the bounce again. So smiles on Teesside again.
In terms of the style of play, a lot's been made of how quick it is, and maybe under Rob Edwards it became a little bit laborious and slow. Is he, in terms of Kim Hellberg, is he the kind of manager that's got the fans off their feet and got Borough fans excited again about watching their team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Edwards, look, I know there's a little bit of bad sentiment. He obviously left, but I think in terms of stylistically, it's a whole different watch on the eye. We were successful being defensively resolute under Edwards, but with Hellberg, it's just different football altogether. It is very much get the ball forward as quick as possible. Even Tommy Conway come out over the weekend and was asked what's changed, why are we scoring all of these goals all of a sudden? And he basically come out and just said he gets us to run forward. And it sounds simplistic, but it is attack first rather than defend first. That's what Edwards' principle kind of was.
Well, we've spoken a lot about the on-pitch stuff. I want to get into the off-pitch stuff. What prospects are the fans feeling are realistic for this season now that Kim Hellberg has got 8 wins out of 12?
I think, in fairness, I know we touched on Edwards a little bit earlier, but Kim Hellberg has come in and I think really installed a belief that actually not only can we challenge, but we can maintain this form. And as I say, the change in style, it feels a lot more sustainable. We're winning games now by 2 and 3 goals, whereas with Rob Edwards, it was 1 goal and, you know, you're kind of clinging on to games in the last few minutes. With Hellberg, I think we've got some difficult games coming up, but people are starting to believe that actually we can go all the way with Ipswich and Coventry.
Well, that's pretty interesting, and hopefully at the end of the season, another North East giant will be joining the top table of English football. Chris from the Boropolis podcast, thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the season, mate.
Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Well, the fan sentiment is pretty hopeful about what Middlesbrough can achieve this season.
Yeah, Chris should be bullish, and as should all Borough fans. They're playing really good football under Kim Hellberg, but I know they play frenetic pace and with a lot of energy. They need to remember, though, that the Championship is a marathon, not a sprint. So let's see if they can sustain this form between now and the end of the season.
Well, if they do sustain this form, it's certainly going to be because they've been terrorising teams in front of goal.